Welcome to everybody to Villa Mosconi Bertani, and normally we start with some geographical information, so where we are. Okay. Villa Mosconi Bertani is located in a little valley called Novare. In fact, the villa is also known as the name of Villa Novare. The valley Novare is situated in Valpolicella, and the Valpolicella is a very important region for the production of red wines, such as, for example, the Amarone and the Valpolicella Ripasso, the most important wines of this winery. Okay. The Romans came in this region and started the production of wine since in this period. And the Romans used also 3 of the 7 springs of water of this valley in order to irrigate the city of Verona. The construction of the villa started in 1735 with the family fattory. Next to the Praxisten cellar, there is a Praxisten cellar here of the 16th century, so very ancient, but we will see it at the end of our visit. And the construction was on a Praxisten structure of the 16th century. The family fattory was a rich family of merchants of silk and luxury products. And they bought the Praxisten structure and 260 hectares of the valley, so the entire valley. But after some bad investment, this family was forced to sell the incomplete villa to the family Mosconi, the second important family for this villa, in 1769. So the family fattory had the villa about 30 years. Okay. With the family Mosconi, the villa became also an important intellectual salon with important intellectual figures of the time, such as, for example, Ippolito Pindemonte, who was a writer and poet who lived here for 10 years and here translated the Odyssey. Okay. The Mosconi expanded also the wine business of this cellar. In fact, with the Mosconi, this cellar became one of the most important cellars in the north of Italy in this period. Okay. In the first half of the 20th century, during the 2 world wars, the villa suffered some years of abandon and of vandalism, which ruined some of the internal rooms and the garden behind the villa. The architect was Adriano Cristofali, and it was deeply influenced by the famous architect Andrea Palladio. For this reason, we can say that it is a typical villa palladiana in a neoclassical style. Okay, this is the main structure of the villa. There are also these 2 symmetrical wings. Okay, in this part there is the ancient cellar. In this part there were the housings of workers in the past. Now we have our storage, and there is also a private chapel of the family. You can see the bell tower. Okay. This is the main facade. In the center we can see the symbol of the family Mosconi, and on the top statues of the Greek myth god. This is a garden in an Italian style, totally different respected to the other garden in an English style. So now we will see the internal rooms of the villa, then the garden behind, and then the cellar at the end. This is the main hall of the villa, the so-called chamber of the muses, because in the bottom you can see the representation of the muses of art, and in particular astronomy, painting, architecture, music, mathematics, and sculpture. Okay, this wood balustrade cuts the room into different parts. Okay, and in the upper part we can see the representation of medicine and justice. We can acknowledge the medicine from this medical plant she holds in one hand, and in the other the robe of a statue is the classical symbol of medicine. And at her foot there is some fruit, a symbol of richness and wealth. Okay. On the other side there is justice, and she holds in one hand a stick and in the other a bundle. It is an ancient symbol of unity and power, and it appears very frequently in the villa. It was used by the Etruscan, Roman, and also Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay, above the door you can see a god protector of workers and countryside, the phones, half human and half animals. And the main theme of the ceiling fresco is the 4 seasons, and for On the top we can see Flora, the representation of spring, and to her side there is a little angel who is trying to catch a tulip, the symbol of riches. To her bottom there is the summer, with the celere and intelligence, painted in a bright color in contrast with the dark and brown color of winter and autumn on the left. The young man with eyes is Zephyr, representation of the favorable wind, with this little playful little angel on the bottom, and among these, with the last angel in the bottom, we can see the art technique of Pompilloy, which will give a three-dimensional perspective to the wall representation. This technique appears very frequently in these frescoes, but this angel is very clear because it seems to fall to our eyes. Okay? And the painters are painters from the region Emilia-Romagna in Italy. Okay? And the main painter was Pistoiese, the school of Pistoiese. Another interesting aspect of this room is the floor, because it is the only original floor of the villa of the second half of 1700. Okay, the art technique is the terrazzo veneziano, a typical technique of this region. The other floor of the villa are similar to this one, but they are much more recent. Okay, and the Count Mosconi used this room for event, concert, and theatrical representation. This is the living room, and this room was used by the Countess Elisabetta Contarini Mosconi for her intellectual discussion with the important intellectual figures of the time. Okay? And all the furniture we can see in this villa are property of the family Bertani. So the villa actually is of the family Bertani, and precisely since 1953. And since 2012, it's only of Gaetano Bertani, one of the four brothers Bertani, the father of Giovanni. You see it? Yes, he is the owner. Okay, so when the Bertani bought the villa, it was completely empty, and it required a great work of renovation. So all the furniture are ancient furniture, but of the family Bertani. Okay. And the ceiling was restored about 30 years ago, while the ceiling in the next room is the original ceiling of the second part of 1700. Okay, so now we are in the secret garden of the villa, the so-called secret garden because it was the private garden of the family and the guests. It is a typical English-style garden. The idea of creating an English-style garden came from Ippolito Pindemonte, the writer and poet who lived here for 10 years. And he wrote also an essays about English-style garden. And the typical characteristics of this style of garden are this wooded area with several exotic plants, such as, for example, this magnolia. They are about 300 years old, and they come from Louisiana. Okay. There was also an aviary in this part for exotic birds. And yes, the garden takes the side of a descendant hill because in this garden the Count made also theatrical representation, concert, and the acoustic is very well. So the echo is very good. And there is a second part of the garden, okay, with a little lake. We can see a little lake, another typical characteristic of the English-style garden. It takes the form from Garda Lake, so it is a little Garda Lake private of the Countess. Okay, and we can see also a wall. It is 3 kilometers long and 4 meters high. It surrounded all the villa. Okay, and it includes 22 hectares of vineyard and 8 hectares of the park. Why there is this wall? Because in the past there were no duties, no taxes to be applied on what was produced inside the private wall. So there were economic regions, okay? And yes, we can see also this little coffee house. You can see. cellar of the villa. Okay, this is only a part of the entire cellar of the Bertani, and precisely 1/5. Okay, this is one of the oldest parts of the villa, and in fact the floor is the original floor of 16th century. The ceiling was a little bit restored. Okay, the Bertani has a long tradition in the production of wines, and precisely since 1857. So they produce wine since more than 100. Okay, and in this valley, the Bertani produce only red wines, in particular Amarone and Valpolicella. So we see the barrels of the red wines. For the white wines, the Bertani has another estate far from here, 60 kilometers far from here in direction of Venice, where the soil is very mineral and volcanic, perfect for the white wines. Okay, we can see the barrels of Amarone and Valpolicella and Merlot also, but it is produced in the other estates. Okay. The barrels contains the smallest 800 liters of wines and the biggest 4,000. Okay. It is French oak, okay, blended with vapor, no toasted, okay. And yes, the wine, the famous wine, Amarone, the most famous wine of this valley, is dating 1936, and it was born in this cellar. We have the attestation about this. And it was born as a mistake, by an accident, because the cellarman forgot to stop the fermentation of the sweet wine Recioto, and all the sugar of this wine became alcohol. So he wrote on his book, I found an almost bitter wine. In fact, the English word bitter is in Italian amaro, from which Amarone. Okay, is a more dry wine respected to the Recioto. Okay, and yes, the cellar, we can see these containers for catch the level of wine inside the barrels, because with the fermentation the level go down. So the enologue, specialist of wine, to fill every day faster the barrels. So now we can taste the 2010. Okay, and it's dependent. For the law, there is a minimum of 2 years and 4 months, but the Bertani decided for 5 years of environment. Yes.
What is the oldest one here?
The oldest one is of 1928, because during the 2 world wars, about 4,000 bottles were hidden inside the wall. Okay, and the Bertani found this bottle, and now we have in the shop, the wine shop, there is also a bottle of 1928.
Yes.
It is another. It's changed in the time, but it's Amarone.
They still sell them.
Yes. About 8,000 euros for bottle.
Pretty expensive for a bottle.
Yes, it's only for the passionate of wines. Yes.
It's a collector's item.
Yes,
then.
perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Normally we use the barrels maximum for 40 years. Okay. Then the barrels were sold for 40 tours normally. And while the barrique for the white wines, they are not here but in the other estates, are smaller, and they are normally sold to the cellar of whiskey. They can be reused. Okay.
How much wine is in this?
Total, I don't know, but okay. So the smallest is 800, the biggest 4,000. So it's a lot of wines. This is a little living room used by the Count just for relax. And an interesting aspect of this room are the two representation of the Count Mosconi, the Countess Elisabetta Contarini Mosconi and the Count Giacomo Mosconi. He was 30 years older than the Countess, and he died when the Countess was still very young. and she played a very important role for the intellectual life of this villa. She surrounded herself by important figures, intellectual figures of the time. Okay. She had 3 daughters, and the last one was the wife of a general, Napoleonic general. So at the end, she went in French, and the family ended. The room of a fireplace, the only fireplace present in the villa, because it was a summer residence. Okay. Yes, and an interesting aspect of this room are these 2 frescoes. This is the main wall of the villa, of the pre-existent structure of the 16th century. So these frescoes are frescoes of the 16th century. Probably the entire wall is painted, but it required a great work of renovation, expensive also. Okay. So then there is the dining room and the kitchen at the end. Yes, this is the dining room. And yes, a particular of this room are these 4 mirrors, because instead of these mirrors there were paintings of the family Mosconi. They were sold, and the family Bertani decided to fill the empty spaces with these mirrors. Ancient mirrors came from an ancient church. We are now in the kitchen, okay? And originally this room was divided into different levels, and in the upper part we can see the windows where there was the storage for the food. And then the Mosconi decided to make an unique room in order to build this fireplace. And another interesting aspect of this room are these containers, because they are the only object we have of the family Mosconi. So when the Bertani bought the villa, it was completely empty, but there was these containers. They are very ancient. They are the typical containers to buy the food at the market. Okay, there was also an oven for bread, and yes, this is one of the oldest parts of the villa. And enjoy your tasting. Thank you for the attention.